Welcome and thank you for attending. A few housekeeping notes before we get started. If you have a question at any point during the presentation, please type it into the chat bar at the right of the screen. This webinar will be recorded and it will be available on the ISAC website. I will now turn it over to Matt Ring with Nationwide Retirement Solutions, which is an ISAC endorsed preferred vendor. Matt?
Thank you, and good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining our webinar today. Webinar is scheduled from 1 to 2. I don't know that we'll need the entire time, but what we thought would be best would be to kind of just start with a review of the 457B deferred compensation plan offered by NACO, the National Association of Counties, and administered by Nationwide. We had provided a webinar for educational purposes a few years ago and felt it might be a good opportunity just to re-review this benefit. So today I'm going to kind of quickly touch base high level on a 457B program and go over some of the enhancements and things that maybe counties should be considering when offering and educating their employees about these benefits. And then lastly, I'm going to kind of finish with a demonstration over our website of the Nationwide My Interactive Retirement Planner, which is designed to help public sector employees just make sure that they're saving enough for their retirement goals and that they're maintaining being on track for those retirement goals. So what you should be seeing on your screen is just some basic information about a 457 plan. This is a public sector, city, county, municipality equivalent to maybe a private sector 401k or a nonprofit 403b plan. The 457 it doesn't cost any money at all to a county to administer. So if you're on the call with us today and if IPERS is your only retirement option, if you're looking for ways to kind of expand your benefit offerings to employees, then the 457 would be an easy way to offer another retirement program without adding any cost to the bottom line for the county. The primary difference of a 457 plan and any other retirement program available is that the withdrawals from the plan are penalty-free. What I mean by that is if a person who's participating at your county and decides to either retire from the county, retire from IPERS, or maybe they leave the county and just do something else with their career so they're no longer actively employed, at that point they're eligible to make withdrawals from their 457 plan. Taxes potentially would be applicable. The traditional 457 is a tax-deferred program, but there are no 10% early withdrawal penalties. Now, if you're offering a 457 program not with Nationwide, you may want to check with your current vendor to see if they would charge any surrender fees or any transactional fees for closing an account. The NACO program doesn't charge any of those, and it would just be subject to federal and potentially state taxes. One thing to note on the form here as well, for the purposes of today's call, if you have any questions after today, you'll see my cell phone and email that you can reach out to me at any point after the call today. Again, your typical 457 and the traditional method is tax deferred. In 2011, the IRS amended the tax code to allow for government sector employees to contribute Roth dollars into their 457. This is going to act similarly to maybe your Roth IRA or Roth 401k plan in the general sense that money is contributed into the plan after income tax has been withheld. Thus, any withdrawals from the plan at retirement or at an eligible event would be tax-free, provided that the person making the withdrawal is over the age of 59 and a half and the account has been open for 5 years. This is a great option for any counties if you're kind of seeing some turnover and if your workforce is beginning to get a little younger. This is a good opportunity for younger investors to put money in at their lower salary, their entry-level income, pay the taxes at the lower level, and then save the money tax-free so that way at retirement, potentially at a higher income at their retirement years, all that money would be free of taxes to them at this point. Again, this amendment was added in 2011. So if your current 457 plan, if you haven't made any changes, and if you're utilizing the NACO plan, get a hold of me and I'll help you easily amend the plan to allow for the Roth contributions. Your primary difference with a Roth 457 versus your Roth IRA, number one, There's no income restrictions. So for IRA purposes, if a person or a household were to make too much money, they would not be allowed to contribute to a Roth IRA. With your Roth 457, it really doesn't matter what the income level is. Secondly, the 457 plan is subject to 457 contribution limits and not IRA limits. For 2019, it was recently announced that the limit for 457 plans is going to be increased to a total of $19,000. People over 50 can contribute an additional $6,000. And then if you're within 3 years of retirement, you can do what's called the special catch-up, which would allow you to essentially double the traditional limit. So on the Roth side of things, instead of being limited to, say, $5,500 or $6,000 a year for an IRA, a person technically, if they had the ability to, could contribute up to the $19,000 limit. One of the more common questions I receive as it pertains to Roth is, if I have a Roth IRA, can I still contribute to a Roth 457? And the answer is yes. The plan is very important, and we're going to kind of highlight this as we go through our planner here in a little bit. But if an employee or participant at your county is hoping to retire and live solely on their IPERS and Social Security benefits, they're going to find that they're going to come up short. At some point into retirement, they're simply just not going to have enough money to live off of, because inflation in particular is going to eat away at what their IPERS income is going to cover for them. What this flyer really illustrates, and I'm sure you've probably seen this from various other financial companies, is the importance of getting started early in your retirement plan. And you see a few scenarios here with Ashley, Michael, and Courtney. The earlier you get started in life, the less of an actual investment it's going to take to have a higher income. Ashley and Courtney each start saving at age 21, but Ashley only saves for 14 years and stops at age 35, with a total contribution to the plan of $42,000. And even though she stops at 35 and the money remains invested in the plan, she'll still have over $600,000 at retirement. Courtney, who's going to take her savings all the way from 21 to 67, is going to contribute a total of $138,000 and end up with almost $1 million in her plan. Very good for people getting started early on in their life. Michael, on the other hand, is probably like a lot of folks out there, gets a little late start on their savings, maybe getting out of college, paying off some student loans, getting married, buying a house, having kids. Any other reason why a person may not just focus solely on their retirement savings early, but because he gets started later, even though he contributes for a longer period of time than Ashley, he's still going to end up with a significantly less amount at retirement because he loses out on his primary compounding years early on in life. So if you have a plan available to your employees, it's important that maybe during your open enrollment periods or in partnership with your provider, or with me if you're using the NACO program, it's important that we're on site at least once a year and providing the education to the employees to help them be better prepared. Just to kind of talk specific to Nationwide, if you have a 457 plan, or maybe you don't have a plan currently or considering adding one for your county, we just have some information here on the screen that talks about Nationwide. We're a 100% American company. All of our employees, all of our assets and investments remain here within the United States. We know that's very important to our public sector plans. The program is very flexible. Again, for the county, there's no cost. It's payroll deducted. So whether you like to submit your payroll through paper checks or bank deposits, we're able to accommodate that. It's very interactive, so if I'm not on site at your courthouse or at the highway department or sheriff's office or any other location, plan participants can access their account online, either through their laptop, their desktop computer, or in today's world, maybe they're using a tablet or a smartphone. Website is award-winning, it's easy to use, mobile-friendly, so if you're pulling it up on any device that has the ability to recognize that. Variety of options, so about 45 varying in degrees of risk depending on if they're a portfolio of stocks or bonds or maybe a little bit of both. We offer a fixed account for those people who are just looking to provide or earn a guaranteed rate of interest that offers a competitive yield. And I think really what sets us apart is our service. So I'm the local rep here in Iowa, and I've met probably most of you on the phone today servicing the state. We also have a customer service center based out of our offices in Columbus, Ohio. It's open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. and Saturdays 9 to 5, so 6 days a week. Your employees have the opportunity to ask their questions and get the assistance that they need, either online, over the phone, or in person with me. And the last thing that I'd like to point out here is recently Nationwide was awarded the top highest in group retirement plan satisfaction by J.D. Power and Associates. It's a great award that we're very proud of. So I'm going to kind of transition here, unless we have any questions, over to the Nationwide website. I'll just go ahead and type it in here in the top left-hand corner for those maybe following along. The web address is nrsforu.com, and that'll bring up our participant site. If you're a plan sponsor, if you're an elected official, board of supervisor, or county auditor, or a benefit manager for the county, we do have a plan sponsor site. You can see the link here, or type in nrsforu.com/plan sponsor, and that'll bring you more plan-specific information. What we're going to talk about today is going to be more on a participant level, and what would help individual plan participants be more prepared or access their account online. What I'm going to pull up here is our interactive planner. There's a few ways of accessing it on our website. Number one, you're going to see a quick link at the moment that's right smack in the middle of the page. It says find out if you're prepared for retirement by using my interactive retirement planner. Or you can kind of go the long way by clicking into our learning center there on the left-hand side of the page. Once that's open, you'll either see down the middle or on the left again our tools and calculators. Just to pause real quick and highlight here, I'm going to launch the planner here in a moment, but we also have a healthcare estimator, 5 multiple choice questions, and we're able to provide a participant and their spouse with an estimate of what they should expect to pay with monthly health insurance premiums. Peer comparison, oftentimes folks like to see where they sit as in comparison to other people, maybe at their age or years of service. My investment planner, this is intended to help people choose based on their investment risk tolerance, maybe an allocation for their funds. Paycheck impact calculator, so if you want to know if I increase my contributions of the plan $25 or $50 a pay, how's that going to affect my take-home or direct deposit? Future value, payout illustrator, and whether it be good or not to contribute to the Roth plan. So just kind of scrolling down the page here. All right. This interactive retirement planner is accessible online whether or not you are a Nationwide plan participant. If you're a plan participant, you would log in with your username and password, and once you're into your account, you'll see right in the middle of the landing page a blue button that says Launch My Interactive Planner. The steps that we just followed a moment ago is how you can access the calculator if you are not an account holder, or if maybe your county doesn't offer the Nationwide plan. The one thing that sets this apart from our competitors is that we're able to provide your employees and participants with an estimate of their IPERS payouts and an estimate of what they should expect to get from Social Security. So let's go ahead and dive in. And please stop me at any time if you have any questions. The more interactive, the better. So 4-step process here. Step 1 is your personal information. Now, we're not asking for your Social Security number or anything like that, but we do need to know your date of birth. That way we can estimate what your salary is today and what it might look like just before you retire. So let's say this person was born in 1960 with a current salary of about $45,000 annually. And what would you expect to get as an annual increase? Normally in this situation, I would assume a 1.5% increase every year, which would account for just your standard cost of living raise. Some employees who may be collectively bargained perhaps, or through other means or pay schedules, might see a higher increase than 1.5%, but I feel like this is just a safe estimate. And you may have noticed that when we're entering information in the variable sections, that the desired retirement income and the projected retirement income are going to change in real time. The last thing on this screen is I plan to start retirement at age blank, we'll say 65, and be in retirement for however many years, or AKA how long you think you're going to live in retirement. It's important to get that right. I typically use a retirement year number that might take your age and add up to age 65, because that's kind of your standard, what people are life expectancy at this point. I won't dive into it for the purposes of our calculation today, but you'll notice on your screens that the calculator can also include spousal information. So if a plan participant is married, and if they would like to account for their spouse's salary and their spouse's retirement plan savings and benefits, then this calculator is able to do more of that robust or complete comprehensive picture. We'll leave that at no for now and continue on to step 2. So now that we know your personal information, $45,000 a year at age 58, increasing at 1.5% to age 65. Step 2 is going to be to uncover your assets. If a person's logged into their nationwide account, they'll already see their county 457 plan account value and balance, which would include any contributions. For the purposes of our example, I'm actually going to leave the 457 at 0. So we'll assume for this particular person that they're going to attempt to retire just on their IPERS benefits by themselves and Social Security, just to kind of illustrate what type of gap that might leave behind. For Social Security, you have a few options. If you choose not to include it, I know there's some people out there that might feel like, well, by the time I retire, there's not going to be any Social Security left for me. So if you'd like to leave it out, you can, and maybe anything that you have could just be considered the cherry on top. You can manually enter in your amount here. If you're receiving your annual, quarterly, or your annual Social Security statements, and you already know what you're going to receive, then you can plug that in. Or for our example, we'll go ahead and use the estimator. For most people these days, full Social Security age is going to be 66 or 67. For John Smith here at 67, it would be $1,500 a month. Just want to highlight that if you take Social Security early at 62, it's going to reduce your payment by 25%. It's a big number. Or you can delay all the way out to age 70 and would give you your highest possible payout. And there's various considerations as to why it's important to not just start Social Security early simply because you can. And I'll come back to this at the end of our presentation to talk about how Nationwide can help you with that. And then we'll click the Pension tab. Same options here. I don't want to include pension, manually enter my amounts if a person has their IPERS statements handy, or help me estimate. Now, since we're not logged into the system, we're going to have to find Iowa, and then the user of the website would select which IPERS class they belong to. Fill in the variables. It's important to point out here that IPERS does not have a cost of living adjustment. This is just another reason why having a supplemental plan, such as a 457, is important. Once you start receiving your payout from IPERS, it's flat. It doesn't change. It doesn't increase as you get older. That's going to make it a little bit challenging as your health insurance, your gas and groceries, and just the everyday expenses that you have continue to increase in cost over time. If your primary source of retirement is staying the same, at some point in, whether it's 5, 10, or 15 years into the future, you're going to feel a little bit of a squeeze. And we'll say this person worked 30 years with IPERS. So this person should expect to get about $2,300, almost $2,400 a month from their pension. So what we're seeing here in step 3 is retirement spending. So based on the amount of money you expect to make just at retirement, how much of that would you like to live off of? Now, it's going to be pretty hard to predict dollar for dollar necessarily, but we can give you some good hypotheticals. Retirement planning theory in general says if you want to maintain your lifestyle in retirement that you had just before you left your job, if you don't want to make any changes, if you don't want to downsize or maybe do anything extra, then typically folks are going to need to replace about 85% of their salary. This calculator gives you the option if you are planning on downsizing, or if you want to maybe spend a little bit more in retirement than you're making now, say if you want to travel and do other extracurricular activities, then we give you some options here. And as we continue to move down the page, somebody, if they know specifically what they need per month, they can enter that in the box, and there's a calculator available that can help you plug in just to get a quick snapshot of your expenses. For our example, we'll leave it at 85%, and we'll move on to the final slide. So this is going to be your summary page. The green bar represents your goal or desired level of income. The blue bar represents where you're going to be. In this particular scenario, person at 58, $45,000 a year wanting to retire at 65, with no additional savings is going to need $41,000 a year or $3,400 a month. Between IFRS and Social Security, they're only going to have about $3,200 a month. So $150 a month of a shortfall on the outset. And it would be wise to think that that's going to become a little bit more compounded over time, again, as inflation and cost of living start to creep up. At this point, a person can go back and change anything, or we have quick calculators here to make some changes. So if they enroll in their plan at $25 a paycheck, how's it going to change their gap? It'll reduce it by about $30 a month. If you click the second tab here, adjust the retirement age. All right, well, I'm a little bit behind schedule today. I'm going to have a couple options. I can either work a little longer, say to age 66. How's that going to change things? Gets the gap a little closer. You can't necessarily change how long you're going to live, but you can downgrade your spending. So instead of $2,800 a month or 85%, what if I reduce that down to a 75% payout? Again, for some people, working longer or reducing their lifestyle may not be an option. So the earlier, again, you get started, the better off you're going to be in the long run. And at this point, if you're logged into your account, there will be a button on the bottom left-hand side that says Save. So all the information will be saved into your profile, and you can come back online at any time and edit. And you always have the option of generating a report. By clicking that button, it'll open up a new page, our retirement readiness report as you're seeing here. Then the individual can save to their computer, they can print it. If there's a local financial advisor or local planner that maybe they're working with, they can take this information to that person with an 800 number here to call with any questions. That's all available online at nrs4u.com. And as was mentioned at the beginning of the call, if you'd like to replay any of our webinars, you go to iowacounties.org. Under the Meeting and Events tab, you would choose Webinars. Kind of bringing that up here on the page. Just going to scroll down as an FYI if anybody missed it. In April of last year, we did a presentation regarding healthcare costs in retirement. And then we also did a presentation, I believe, earlier in the year or maybe in a prior year regarding Social Security. One of the things that I mentioned as we were going over the calculator here was Social Security. The timing of when you start those payments is very important. So if a person's needing some assistance with when do I start taking Social Security, that's something that Nationwide can provide complimentary at free of charge to anybody that would like to kind of analyze where they sit, what's their break-even period. Maybe I don't start at 62, and then maybe I don't wait till I'm 67, maybe 64 or 65 is going to be the ideal time for me to start my Social Security. That's really all we had for you today. Just wanted to take a quick high-level overview and just re-review the importance of the 457 plan, the importance of educating the employees and making sure that a plan's available and helping them save for retirement, and how Nationwide can be a partner with the county to make sure that the employees are better prepared once their day is here and they're able to kind of walk through the golden gate onto the other side into retirement life. Did we have any questions from our audience today?
Nope, we don't have any questions at this time, but if you have any that you think of in the future, feel free to reach out to ISAC and we will direct that to Matt or reach out to him directly.
Sure.
And get that answered for you.
And I'll pull my information back up here on the screen just as we're wrapping things up today. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me directly. So thank you for your time today. We'll give a little bit of time back to you and enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you.